evening, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And welcome to our spoiler reaction review of episode 7 of WandaVision called Breaking the Fourth Wall. This is our Modern Family episode, following the tropes and the kind of the way that the show has been going. Pretty much everybody was calling that this was going to be the Modern Family episode.
Okay.
Just because we didn't watch Modern Family, so we have no reference to whatever.
Right. I was thinking like The Office, just because of the whole interviewee kind of thing. But obviously that's not a family setting.
Right.
You know, it's an
Right.
office setting. So like you said, we didn't watch Modern Family, so we didn't have any point of reference.
But so we were all in the ballpark of what we were wanting to see, and at least for this episode. I don't know what we're going to get going forward, because now we're into the 2010s, right? And so, and there's only 2 episodes left. So,
Yeah.
Are you going to do a WandaVision episode?
Maybe.
Like it's going to be, yeah. Like we said, we're going to be talking about spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, thanks for the click. Go watch and come back. But spoilers. Okay. We were all right. Agnes is
Agatha
Harkness.
Yes.
So it's the most non-secret that has been going the entire time. Like,
Right.
if you're going to lay out all the tropes and everything for Agatha Christie, Agatha Harkness, then it's going to, everybody's going to pick it out.
Yeah.
Especially since Agatha plays such a big role with Wanda.
Agatha. Agnes.
Yeah, and she plays such a big role for her in the comics that it just made sense. It just everything made sense. Now everything from here on out, outside of Reed Richards being the aerospace engineer, like everything else is where it's all guessing game from here on out.
Right.
So how do you feel about at least the Agnes stuff? At least the reveal. That was the big reveal.
What was it?
Maybe.
I don't know. Like you said, everybody kind of knew that that's who it was going to be. So I don't know that it was shocking.
I liked the confirmation.
Yeah. I liked the confirmation of, is it Monica Rambeau?
Rambeau, yeah.
I liked the confirmation of her better.
Yes.
Pushes through, and now she's got powers.
Yes. I want to get to Monica next, but I want to kind of finish up with Agatha, because she shows up at the episode starts with Wanda needing a me day after exploding the hex from the previous episode.
Right.
And the idea that she's hungover and needs a mom day, and the kids are kind of freaking out because everything in the house keeps changing. Now their video game, I think the controllers start out as PS5s. They could be Xbox, but I couldn't quite see it, and we've only watched the episode once.
Yeah.
But then they switch, and then they go to like
they end up being like Atari
with the joystick and then Uno cards and stuff. And then later on in the episode, Monica is having a full-on Wanda is having a full-on breakdown with, and everything's kind of glitching in and out and stuff like that. So with knowing that Wanda needs a break, Agnes comes over and takes the boys and takes them to her house.
Right.
And because they're doing the fourth wall break in this episode, she kind of was winking and nodding the whole time that, yes, your mom's fine. And all of that stuff. And so with all that, and then later in the episode, when Monica and Wanda have a confrontation, Agnes goes out and stops her. And that's when we get Agnes comes out and grabs Wanda and takes her back to the house, and Wanda starts doing the math of where are the kids, where are they at, and she convinces her that they're playing in the basement. Wanda goes down in the basement, and it's a full-on crypt thing.
Right.
And Agnes shows up and says, "You're not the only witch in town."
Yes.
And mind melds with her, whatever the purple haze thing was.
Well, that's just her. That's her power.
Her hex or whatever.
Yeah, because then it breaks into like a kind of a fake credits of the. It's always been Agatha. I can't remember which one it was in the kind of fake credits, and every time she does something, there's like this purple haze around it,
controlling everything. Yeah, including Pietro.
Right, which I'm not sure if that means that she created him, she made him appear, or was he already there and she just pushed him through the door? I'm not sure what was going on.
Right. It almost feels like she took somebody that was already in Westview and created her, kind of like what Wanda's been doing with everybody.
Right, but she got it wrong because she picked the wrong
Pietro. Yeah.
Right. So
it's not the multiverse for this episode. I'm telling you, it's good. There's going to be a thing. But with her reveal and everything going on, for me, it takes Mephisto and Nightmare and the Grim Reaper and all of those out of play. That she's working on her own. She's doing stuff on her own.
Well, she could still be. I mean, she could join up with them. I just always felt like Mephisto, especially, was too big of a bad guy to introduce in a show.
Right.
Like, he's a movie bad guy. Now, a more minor bad guy, bad gal, could certainly join up with him or be joined up with him, and then that's the next movie.
Right. Mephisto could be the big bad in Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
And then you've got Agatha doing all this stuff to Wanda to kind of keep her controlled and stuff.
Right, and it's interesting.
They're working together. Mephisto and Agatha are working together, but this is the big bad for this show.
It's interesting that the next Doctor Strange movie is the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
And that the Wanda comic was the House of M or the House of Madness or whatever.
It was the House of M, but it was about her going mad, essentially.
So that's
from grief.
Interesting.
And they talked about grief several times in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, breaking the fourth wall. It's breaking all kinds of walls. So she's struggling to control it. Whether that's because the hex is now too big, there's too much going on for her to control, or she's just starting to lose. I mean, I think that they're probably connected. She's trying to keep all this stuff going and she's just kind of losing it, which is making it worse. You've got Darcy has told Vision who and what he is and where he came from. Yep. So now that wall is broken. The Agatha wall is broken. The Monica breaking
through the wall
broke through. Yeah. And you're kind of learning more about, what is he, a general or, on the outside?
Who, Hayward?
Hayward, yeah.
He's acting director of SWORD.
Okay, so you kind of are getting an idea of what's going on with him. They're talking about sending the thing up.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of wall breaking.
A lot of a lot of information in this episode. When the episode got done, I felt kind of I've been listening to a weekly review with Coy Jandro on the Coycast, on his podcast. And Jake Lloyd is his producer, tag team partner on the show. And Jake's a writer, has done a couple of movies, small budget movies and stuff like that. So he understands structure, TV structure, movie structure and stuff like that.
Right.
And his biggest complaint has been that the show is so good that it's so short. When you get done, you're like, that was it?
Yeah.
And I've been fighting against that. I've been fighting, like, I've been happy with the way the episodes have been going the whole time until this one. I'm not saying I don't like this episode. I really like this episode. But when they get done with it was Agnes the whole time.
Yeah.
Scene, it rolls the credits, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, the whole episode felt like this setup to do the reveal of Agnes being Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
And it's not. There's a ton of other stuff going on.
Right.
But it just felt like this build up to do that big reveal, and everybody thought the big reveal was going to be the aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
Because we got Monica with the truck. By the way, the truck makes it kind of partly, and then gets shot back out. It's a K car van from
conversion van, whatever. Yeah. It looked horrible. Yeah.
But this was the first episode. I was like, no, I want more. Like,
yeah.
No, you just got to the point of the episode, and now it's done.
Yeah.
And so I just with all of that, the other stuff that I felt was important, the Monica stuff. Let's talk about Monica actually going in. She's been told in episodes in the past that her going in and out of the hex wall has changed her physically
on a molecular level.
Structural. And
sure.
We all know, the audience know, that she is Photon in the comics.
Right.
So, but they don't know that in the show.
Right.
So my speculation was a couple weeks ago that the hex is going to go over the whole Earth, and that's going to
start changing everybody.
Start the gene sequence to get the mutants and the X-Men and stuff in the future. So with her knowing that she has to go in to try to save Darcy and to help Wanda, she goes in on her own.
Yeah.
And when she gets in, great superhero landing, and she gets through the thing, and her eyes are glowing.
Yep.
And they do a shot from her vantage point, from her looking out into the world, and everything's kind of,
it's like
she can
colored.
see all the energy,
and
all
the
stuff, like
all the photons
coming off of everything. So I thought that was cool, but then later when she goes and does her trying to save Wanda thing, her intervention with Wanda, Wanda kind of fights, kind of throws her out of the house, and she kind of lights up a little bit like Captain Marvel does. Wasn't much, but it was enough that you're like, oh, okay, it's on. And you feel like there's going to be a big conflict there.
Yeah, well, and she slams her down to the ground, and she looks up, and her eyes are
glowing. And she kind of sparks out a little bit when that happens. But with that conflict, we are now pointing the camera at Wanda.
Yeah.
You are the reason this is happening.
Yeah.
And you need to stop this. And you're the only one who needs to stop this. Which is funny because it's breaking the fourth wall that we were just talking about. And her, as the episode was going on more and more and more and more, she kept talking about how she was struggling with everything.
With grief and with, they talked about grief, and Monica talked about losing her mom, and Yeah.
And so with Monica's now on the inside, and she, at the end of the episode, we get a post-credit scene? Or
mid-credit scene?
Mid-credit scene. Her going to Agatha's house. I just want to call her Agatha Christie. Going to Agnes's house, and she opens the basement, and she can see the vines and stuff that is in the crypt.
Yep.
And Pietro's there, and kind of like, who told you to snoop?
Snooper's gonna snoop, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
Snooper's gotta snoop. Which, again, I'm like, we don't know. Is he there on Agnes's behalf?
Right.
Is he Agnes's minion? Or, is he a free person that she controlled that once?
Right.
And he's just like, what you doing?
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
You're not sure. Is he like gonna push her in, or is he going to be like, what's going on?
It feels weird because the last episode, when Wanda and Pietro were having that long conversation at the Halloween fair, like, he kept kind of hinting that this is cool. Like, this is cool that you built this little utopia for yourself.
Yeah.
But also pointing out things like, I am, I'm not the same Pietro.
Right.
That, he doesn't.
And he knows what's going on.
He knows some of what's going on.
Yeah, he knows that Vision is dead, and then she told him, that I was very sad and, couldn't handle it and made this. So he knows a lot, which again makes me wonder if he's Agnes's minion, what the point of that was. Like, did Agnes not, I feel like Agnes has known this whole time what was going on, so why send him in to get the same information you already have? And then he turns into kind of a dick and she kicks him out.
Right. So, especially with the line last week with, can your husband really die twice or whatever?
Yeah.
And Wanda throws him across the park.
Yeah.
And that's when she stops everything. But in this episode, Darcy and Vision talk about how he's already died twice. That she killed him the first time, pulling out the Mind Stone, and then the bad guy, Thanos wasn't named by name, but the bad guy showed back up because he had control of time and killed you in front of her.
Right.
So laying the groundwork of she's watched you die twice within minutes of each other. Oh, by the way, they also point out it's only been a few weeks, since the actual unblipping has happened, unsnapping, which is still so for everybody who has been unblipped, it's still everything's still very fresh to them.
Yeah, that was it 7 years, 5 years,
5 years.
Didn't happen for them, so it was.
We're at about 5 years and 4 months, 5 months from the actual snap.
Yeah.
And so with the idea that Pietro is being, I kind of wonder if Agnes knew enough about the backstory of Pietro that she was able to give all that information in her little hex thing to whoever is playing Pietro.
But again, they got it wrong. So did she get that Pietro information from the multiverse and pick the wrong Pietro? Right. So then the multiverse would still be involved somehow, and then you go to Mephisto is controlling the multiverse and gave her the information, but it was wrong. Pick Pietro out of one of the multiverses and throw him in here, or his likeness or whatever, and didn't realize that he was owned by another company. And so there are two.
Let's talk about the great Darcy Vision. Fine, I'll date you, but I won't buy lobster. But you owe me lobster. Vision wakes up after the Hex stuff happens, and he's right outside the circus that was the sword camp.
The sword, yeah.
And he goes in, and he somebody like the strong man who looks like he's kind of running the show. So I'm trying to remember who Hayward's like on-site guy was.
So I thought that the guy running the show was actually kind of the carny guy that is trying to get them to go on stage.
Yes.
But the strong man, I actually read somebody was talking about how that might be a slight wink and a nod to the fact that Superman was originally kind of taken from the strong man of the circus. That was kind of his template. But
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of.
I just like that he was whoever the strong man was in this episode. He was the one that was kind of trying to get Vision to actually do stuff. Like, oh, you're already here. You're already in clown. You're already in your makeup. You're on stage in 5 minutes. You're doing it with the escape artist, which is a nice little wink and nod to the last episode because Darcy's actually tied to the
she
truck.
Was handcuffed to the truck.
And they turn around and she's all Houdini to the truck.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of breaks free or whatever.
Right.
And they have a long conversation. And Darcy finally does the whole final taking a date, but you have to buy me lobster.
Right.
And Vision unhexes her.
Right.
And they try to escape. And
in the slowest escape.
It's an ice cream
ever.
truck. It's not going to be fast.
But then they also, Wanda keeps throwing stuff up in their way.
Yeah,
so they can't get through.
In that conversation in the getaway ice cream truck. And now I have visions of Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yeah.
With the ice cream truck. They have Darcy tells him everything that she knows from as an outside perspective of the world that he is in.
Yeah.
And he multiple times talks about I don't know who he's in the past he's been talking about I don't know who I am.
Right.
And now that he knows who he is, he still seems lost.
Yeah.
And he still doesn't know what his purpose is.
Right.
His purpose inside this hex is explained to him by Darcy. And Darcy says, I've been watching WandaVision for a week. I'm a big fan. No matter what is going on here, the love between you and Wanda is real and important.
Right.
And it's at that point, because Vision's dialogue things that he's been doing to the camera is in front of the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And he finally decides I need to go.
Yeah. Why am I talking to you guys? I gotta go.
I gotta go help my wife and stuff. And so he looks down and unclips the mic, which is such an amazing detail, small, stupid little detail that he has to unclip the mic and leave.
Right.
And he stands up and bops the boom mic out of the way.
Yeah.
And they cut to him in the truck, vaporizing. That's not the right word.
Evaporate, whatever.
Going through the wall of the truck and flying.
Yeah.
So now he's flying. He's flown a couple of times, but now he's on purpose.
Yeah.
Making this thing, and all of that dialogue is amazing, and it's set up the big fight. That it's going to be Monica and Vision going to try to save Wanda, and
from Agnes,
and in that the boys are going to die.
Okay,
that's where I'm at.
Okay,
that's where I'm at. Is we're going to get the boys are going to die, and that's what's going to be the thing that makes the hex go worldwide, out of control, whatever.
Okay,
and then Monica's going to be the one, and Monica and Vision are going to be the ones that kind of bring her back. And then that's going to be how we get the mutants and the multitude, multiverse of madness and stuff. It just, for all the craziness that we've gotten in all these episodes, this was a quiet episode.
It was, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of information, a lot of things.
This was the info dump episode.
Yeah.
The one when they went outside the hex the first time. That was an info dump.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah. But this one was definitely... quieter, but more information. Weird.
Yeah. And I think that's why I'm kind of maybe struggling with it a little bit too, is that we've had 2 weeks in a row of mind breaking. You need to watch every little thing.
Yeah.
Kind of, when that was not what was going on in this episode. Now there may be a bunch of Easter eggs and a bunch of stuff from whatever, but I think
but I think we feel like everything that we got in this episode, while big and potentially mind-blowing, are things that the internet, because I mean, I'm not and you're probably not either, are not, steeped in all of the lore, but the internet for a long time has been saying that Agnes, even before the show was came out, Agnes was going to be the big bad in it. And then when Monica Rambeau was announced, everybody knew that she was somehow going to get her powers. And as soon as the reveal was made last episode or a couple episodes ago that her going back and forth was changing her, okay, now we know. So it's a lot of things more being told to the characters themselves
Right.
than to us.
Right. Right.
Vision learns what happened to him. Monica is suddenly realized she might be a superhero. Wanda learns about Agnes, but these are all things that we've already known.
Yeah. The scene with Monica going through the wall, there's all this voiceover stuff, and I'd like to see somebody break that down and give us,
because she was
phasing in and out of different costumes and stuff like that. But there's a lot of voiceover stuff in there, and the previous time they did that, it was her unsnapping, and it was lines from Captain Marvel. When she was a kid, right? So like all of that stuff is going on there. We also, one of the other things that we didn't talk about too was Jimmy and Monica were in the truck when they were going to get the RV. Mm-hmm. And that Jimmy finally decodes Darcy's hack of Hayward's stuff.
Yep.
And they say in there that Hayward was trying to weaponize what was left of Vision,
right,
with Operation Cataract.
Right.
Now, we were just,
and that's why he knew where he was all the time, and basically that says what I think we said last week, that he wanted Wanda to take Vision. It was a setup.
Yes.
And they wanted her to take him into the Hex because he had some kind of homing beacon on him, so that they knew where he was all the time. And basically she's brought him back to life.
Yeah, I was just going to say reanimate him, but
so now if they have some thing planned for, he's now a weapon for them if they can get their hands on him.
Vision asked Darcy, "What am I?"
Yeah.
If I'm the product of an AI, a Jarvis, and the wanting to take over the world of Ultron, again, another episode where we mentioned Ultron,
right?
What's that make me?
Right.
And then you have all this stuff with Hayward outside trying to weaponize Vision into whatever.
Except that they proved last episode that what he is doesn't translate out to the real world. So how do they use him?
Unless they think, Sword and Hayward think, that when Wanda deactivates the Hex, that it doesn't shrink down, it just turns off.
Right. And
now Vision is animated, and he'll be gray. He'll be the gray with the hole in his forehead that we got a couple episodes ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And now he is a computer, a controllable computer, automaton
robot
that Sword can control.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to what Hayward was saying in the previous episode, where he was saying, 2 episodes ago, where he was saying to Monica, "You weren't here. We didn't have heroes to help save us."
Right.
If his whole vision was to activate Vision and make him controllable,
so that they had a superhero,
so they had a suit around the world, which was what Tony wanted to do. So you've got all that kind of now laying out there with that concept, and as we talk through it, it's like I wonder if Agatha and Hayward are actually working together.
And they could be, or he could be in the Mephisto team,
right?
On the Mephisto team,
right?
If that's still, I still, because this is supposed to be tying into the next Strange movie, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there has to be
something that's going to happen. That it's going to lead us to the multiverse of what's going on.
Right.
And if you take a lot of what is being said and stuff that we know, the Spider-Man movie is supposed to maybe be dealing with the multiverse too, and it's not necessarily. You got to remember with the Spider-Man stuff too is that it's Sony and Marvel working together,
right? And
this is the last official tie-in that they have with each other, and so they might be setting up something for the Sony verse of Spider-Man,
right?
Where Spidey can come in and out and stuff like that. But if we're getting the Spider-Verse there, and we're getting the multiverse of madness, if you're getting those two, you have to have some kind of big event, and we know that there's a fight scene coming in the next week because in the trailer we have Vision and Wanda saying, "If this is our town, we need to defend it." And they show them flying across the screen, just the two of them, not Monica, not Darcy, not whatever.
And we know that the MCU likes to put out misleading trailers. So.
Right. Especially with Civil War on, there's always a little bit of a misdirect in the trailers, and so but I think overall, the more we kind of talk through this episode, the more I'm going to be like, I really like this episode.
I liked it. It was just like we said, it was a little quieter. We were learning stuff. The characters were learning stuff about themselves that we already knew. But it was confirmed out loud, verbally, or in the stuff disappearing, or whatever. So it's not the big reveal for us.
No, but I think
it's a big reveal for them.
That's a big reveal for them, but I really think that we're going to get a couple more.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried.
Big things.
I'm not worried.
And that's everybody is circling around the aerospace engineer because everybody thinks it's Reed Richards. And everybody's been also saying you're not going to have that big of a character reveal in this show.
Right.
You might have them into Multiverse of Madness. So if you set up by having Strange show up at the end to kind of set up Multiverse,
maybe
that would be awesome.
Maybe.
So I guess that's our full thoughts for right now. I'm sure we'll have more later when we rewatch it.
We're almost as long as the series. The episode.
We were 45 minutes last week, and the episode was 30. So
we have thoughts.
We have thoughts, and there's layers, and it's freaking onions around here. So let us know what you thought of this episode and our reaction to it in the comments down below. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and follow us on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links in the description down below, down there. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.